raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Hey, community, listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday at 10:45 a.m.
We invite you to get up and call a friend and tell them that New Hope is on live. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And now, our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Robert L. Jeffrey Sr.
Everybody clap your hand, come on.
Listen to New Hope Missionary Baptist Church every Sunday at 10:45 a.m.
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, all day Saturday.
This is Edward Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Capitals.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Captains.
Start time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pierce. Start time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae hour, K-Fox night.
Looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the vibe.
Fresh juice, D-Money in there.
Myself, D-Money.
Taylor Hart,
Spencer, the Northwest Rap Gang.
DJ Medina, Jackson, Northwest Rat.
Sergio Lacour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone lines. Hello, who is
Sea Monster Radio, Mojang. It's your
The Mojo Monday. This is KZ, KZ Music Media, Caller Goddess for Mojo Mondays.
Just my God is inspiration all day and all night. Saturday. Rainier Avenue Radio. Hey, this is serious. Let's talk about saving lives. Fentanyl overdoses are rising and it can happen to anyone. But here's the good news. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, can reverse an opioid overdose. Yeah, it's that powerful. Naloxone is easy to use and it could save a life in minutes. It comes as a nasal spray and you don't need to be a doctor to use. If someone you know overdoses, spray it in their nose, call 911 and stay with them. You could be the reason they wake up.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. You missed a spot.
Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove, but trees let's groove.
Welcome everyone. This is Brenda Charles Edwards, the host of Seniors Matter. We are live every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on www.rainieravenueradio.world, your community radio station. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, the Rainier Avenue Radio app. Seniors Matters invites a variety of guests to discuss issues and activities that may impact the lives of older adults, their families, and definitely the community. Do you need financial documents notarized? Are you a senior or anyone that needs documents read to you for clarity or completion? Give me a call, Brenda, of course, at Black Orchid Notary, 206-683-2636. Tell me where, I'll meet you there. Well, today we're talking about breast cancer awareness. And my guest today is Dee Scott. She's the president of Cierra Sisters. Her mother is Bridgette Hempstead, who is the chief executive officer and founder of Cierra Sisters Incorporated. Welcome to the show, Dee.
Thank you so much, Miss Brenda, for having me. It is an absolute honor to be here and stand in the footsteps of my amazing mother. I call her my shero for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've known her for a little bit and she is all that.
She is all that and a bag of chips. And you know, currently we are at the Wild Gallery. She is receiving, she is being honored by King County for the work that she's done. And yes. So that's why you get the second string. But nah,
you're not second string by any means, dear.
I appreciate that. But and what I really mean by that is her shoes are so large and so unique. You know, I dare not try to fill them or fit them. You know, she's one of a kind.
Yes, she is. And because you're in the position that you're in, you have your own shoes.
That is correct. That
And
is correct.
they complement your mom's shoes.
Absolutely. And so I hope that you can hear me. I've got my earbuds in, but they're clapping and cheering out there. And so I had to try to find a quietest room, if that's even a word,
I hear you.
to do this. Yeah.
Not a problem at all. I'm so proud of her and I'm so happy for her. And what a wonderful spot to have this award.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow Gallery is just beautiful.
It is, truly. Well, for those of you that are listening and viewing us, if you don't know, Cierra Sisters is an African-American breast cancer organization, which uniquely provides education and advocacy about women and men's breast and health issues. So Dee, how did you get involved with Cierra Sisters?
You know, when I turned, I think such a loaded question, right? Because
I know. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I mean, I've been there, you know, since the inception. I can remember my mom and dad coming home and telling us that my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was 14 years old. She was 35. My baby sister was 2. And so that would make my middle sister 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. And so I remember switching gears in my mind. And so for me, that was the moment that I became second mom to my sisters. And then when my mom started Cierra Sisters, it just was a natural thing. I mean, where she needed help, I was there to help. And then eventually became the president and have been, you know, just coming alongside her, whether it was part of the planning and production or sweeping the floor and mopping the floor, that, you know, so wherever she needed for me to be is where I was and still am.
Yes, I don't doubt that at all. As you are there right now at the WOW Gallery.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thank you for, and I can't even use the word stepping up. Let's say stepping in.
It's stepping in. You know, I will say stepping in because no one chooses cancer. Mm-hmm. We've all, I think, been impacted by it, by, you know, someone. And, you know, she took the high road and she chose the path of advocacy. And so I'm just with her.
Well, I have to say that I've experienced breast cancer in my family.
Sure.
So far, you know, I have not had it. But because of Bridgette, I was able to be a patient advocate to my cousin for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that was a journey. And it's still a journey because she's still affected by that and other things that have happened since that in the you know, department.
Sure.
She's still dealing with myopathy in her feet. And, you know, I mean, it's just amazing. And I had I'm going to say, I don't know if pleasure is a word, but I had the opportunity to introduce someone who's was going through breast cancer to Cierra Sisters. And since that, I understand from Bridgette that he's a budding flower. Yeah. And you probably know who she is. And I'm going to go ahead and say her name. And she's not listening because I know she's at work.
Okay.
she may pick it up later. But Lanita.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Lanita was really struggling and she's still having some issues. But when she was in the thick of breast cancer, she was struggling. And, you know, all I could think was, I got to turn this young lady on to Cierra Sisters.
Correct.
And, you know, we talked about it. And finally, one day she did go to a meeting. And that was probably the best thing she could have done for herself as far as moral support is concerned.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you guys are hands-on, I feel, because you're changing lives, not only for women, but for men all across the country.
Sure.
And It's about education. And can you speak a little bit more about the education that you give people that come to you?
Yes, my mom, her resume is quite extensive, but I think the first place that we start is, the advocacy portion. I can remember going to a doctor's appointment with a Cierra sisters and my mom, and the doctors were shocked at the amount of information that my mom knew. And they had to revisit how they showed up in the conversation in the room.
I bet they did.
Yeah, because you weren't talking to somebody who just is like, I'm just taking your word for it. I mean, we've seen both sides. We've seen racism in oncology. So part of the education that we provide at Cierra Sisters is the knowledge around breast cancer, along with the advocacy. We do a lot of events, right? So we have World Mammography Day that's coming tomorrow.
Well, you want to stop and talk about that now, or you want to talk about it later?
We can talk. Yeah, we can talk. Well, you got the screen up, so let's talk about it. I'm going to pull up my screen because
girl, we on it.
Listen here. Nobody told me that I needed readers when you hit the 40s. No, I didn't know. I absolutely did not know, but it's going to be at Rainier Beach Community Center. We are doing free mammograms. It is a health fair. It is it is the opportunity for our community to come together in a safe space where we can be educated, really talk about our experiences, really talk about our fears, and be able to walk through those processes. So we've got everything. I don't know. I'm trying to read your screen and I'm trying to find my flyer as well, because I've been promoting the heck out of it. But there we go. Everything. We got door prizes, brunch, and then we're also going to celebrate. It is a free event to the community. I think one of the biggest things that we do, and we try to do at every event, is to make sure that we have free mammograms for our community. A lot of times when they go to the hospitals or the doctors, they are turned away because they don't meet the quota, the criteria age, right?
Yes,
right? Or they don't have the health plan for it. And so we can really move around that and get them the help that they need and the early detection.
Right. And that when you talked about the age thing, now the other spectrum of the age thing is if you reach a certain age, you don't need quote unquote to get a mammogram every year. Well, I am in a family of women. I don't know if there have been any men, but of women for sure that have died of some form of breast cancer or pancreatic cancer.
Sure.
And Mom and I, bless her heart, we were talking about this last night. I said, Mom, did you schedule our mammogram? Because that's her job. And then we used to go have out for breakfast, and then our little breakfast place closed. So then I go to her house and she fixes breakfast, and we chat and all that. But that's our date.
Yes.
And you got to do it. You just got to do it. But we go every year. She's past the age of what they say. I'm past the age of what they say, but I don't care because it's in my family.
Right.
So, because Mom had 4 other sisters, and 2 of them died from breast cancer, 1 from pancreatic and the other from heart disease and diabetes. So,
it's funny. You're talking about the age where you stop having these screenings, and then there's the age where you're too young to have the screening, right? So because my mom was diagnosed at 35, I started having my first mammogram was when I was 29.
Okay.
And my doctor, she was a Black doctor. She actually advocated for me to get them every single year. So I've been getting a mammogram since I was 29 every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to.
Have to.
Now, I'm curious, do you know how they give men, because men can get breast cancer too. How do they screen them?
So I don't know. That's a great question. I don't have any information on how. I know that they do because we did have some Cierra brothers that were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay, and I've heard that, but I thought about that this morning. I said, well, how do they do that? Because we know how they do it for us.
Right. We plop it up there and they squeeze it. So they don't have the same mass. So I have no idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So what do you or have you enjoyed most about your work with Cierra Sisters?
Well, two things. Number one, I think watching my mom make her journey purposeful has definitely, like, this woman turned lemons into a whole lemon drop extra vodka. Well, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm saying she right? She turned it into a whole martini. Yes. And just watching her take the reins on purpose. Yes. Right. Again, like I said, nobody chooses this cancer journey. However, she has given it purpose. And so that's the first thing. I think also watching the results of the work, not only in her own life, but in the life of our community. Right. Being able to either help save someone's life with early detection and connecting them to the right doctors. Being able to say, hey, we know about that facility. You probably need to move in a different direction.
That's wonderful.
That, I mean, I've seen that with my own eyes. Just watching her give herself of this faithfully.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just tuning in, you're listening live to Seniors Matter with your host, Brenda Charles Edwards, on www.rainieravenueradio.world, your community South Seattle radio station. We're here on Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do you know what's the best gift we can give ourselves and our loved ones? Join me on Zoom for a group or individual session on Speaking of Dying, end of life planning. I don't mean to laugh because this is very serious. There was something in the background. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Speaking of dying, end of life planning. Call me at 206-683-2636. And it is very important. And Dee, I just want for the others that are just tuning in to know that Dee is the president of Cierra Sisters, and Cierra Sisters is a support and cancer education group for men and women of color, in particular, but not only.
Correct. Yes.
So there was something I was going to ask you. So I know that, I'm going to say I know that the biggest fear that women and men, well, anybody that gets cancer, but what would you think would you say it is for breast cancer?
What is the biggest fear?
Yes. And I'm thinking, and you tell me if I'm right or not, but I'm thinking it's lack of knowledge.
It is. It is lack of knowledge. I think that what we have heard just in our circle is that when we hear the C word, we automatically think death sentence, or how long do I have to live? Or I've got 6 months,
Or do I have to lose my breasts?
Do I have to lose my breasts? What part of my body part has to leave? And that's probably the biggest thing is fear. There's so many women that we've come across that said, hey, you know what? I felt this lump for 2 years, but I was afraid to go to the doctor.
Oh gosh.
We literally just spoke to someone about this, and she is, I think, 50, And her and my daughter is 14. Shout out to JoJo. My daughter's 14 and her daughter is 14. She had a baby later on in life. And she said, I felt it last year and I just was afraid. And so she didn't do anything. And now it has grown slowly, thank God.
Yes.
Right. But that's not everyone's story.
No, not at all.
So I think fear and just not knowing where to go and what to do and who to trust.
And who to trust. That's it right there too.
Yeah. I
agree. Wow. Well, I'm glad you guys are there and she found you.
Yes. And it's somebody, she's known our work for quite some time and we've known each other for quite some time. But again, we're right here and just that fear just paralyzed her from just reaching out and having the conversation.
Right. And I'm sure one of her thoughts were, I have a 14-year-old child. I might not see my child grow up and get married.
Correct.
And that's part of the, like you say, being paralyzed.
It's being paralyzed, and I think sometimes we have to reframe the moment and think about what happens if I don't.
Right.
What tools are available to me in this moment if I get the news that I don't want to hear.
Right. Absolutely. I hear you.
Yeah.
So how was the name Cierra Sisters chosen? Do you know? I know you do.
I do. So Cierra Sisters is an African word. It means knowing. And so my mom really wanted to frame her nonprofit behind the word knowledge. And so that's what it means. It means knowing. And so she has walked this knowing calling. She's walked this out for almost 28 years.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking I have a note, but it was February 23rd, 1996 when she started her journey on creating this.
Yes.
And that's dedication, but it's also it's insight and it's wanting to share.
Yes. And it's we've been doing this grassroots style, right? And still really the majority of us, is grassroots. Susan G. Komen, where you have millions of dollars that were pouring in, right? Even though we would write the same grants, even though we were doing the same work and more, because we were actually going into our community and speaking to our community. But there's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to getting funding for grassroots work. And so probably within the past 10 years is where Cierra Sisters has gotten more recognition and they put more respect on my mama's name and really started writing those checks, which were long overdue but well deserved because our community is so underserved. Right. And so now, we are at the place. I can remember when we would be in Cierra Sisters, our meetings and really how we were putting together these events where my mom was writing checks out of her own personal checking account, or we were taking up collections from Cierra Sisters. Now you got to remember, most of these women either had a reduction of time on the job because they were dealing with their own cancer, or they were advocates for somebody else. So they were showing up. But everybody was digging in from a bag that they may not have even had for a bigger cause. Mm-hmm. So that is what I remember. I remember passing the plate and everybody giving what they had. And there were times where it still wasn't enough, but we made it enough because mom's passion for her calling for this community was that strong that it didn't matter.
Right. And I would say, too, that God played a part in that because he kept giving her the strength to keep pushing forward. And I know she's had at least 2 relapses, right?
Yes. And God is the X factor in all of He he has brought the people that have sustained Cierra Sisters, has helped her in when she was fighting, and she's still fighting the fight. Right. Sure. And so he has strategically placed people around us to still move the needle forward.
And that is so wonderful. Now, I know your mom's been to Africa. Have you been to Africa?
No, I have not. But see, here's the thing. My mom will call me and she'll say, hey, I'm going to Africa in 3 weeks. You want to go? I said, Mom, this is not a California trip. Like, I have to go and get malaria shots. And they're like, what do you mean? At that time, my kids were little. Like, Mom, I would love to. She's just like, I have an extra ticket. And I'm like, okay, that's not an extra ticket to a ball game. You have an extra ticket to Africa. And I'm sorry, Mom, I can't swing it. So yeah, she's been to Africa on more than one occasion. Mm-hmm. And she has had the time of her life every time.
And and I was hoping she was going to be able to make it, because we have about 5 more minutes, because I love her song.
Sister, don't you know? Uh-oh. You're a shining star.
Right now.
Yeah. We did that. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know you knew the jam too.
What? Oh, so you got to remember, me and my sisters, we were there when she wrote it. And so even when we were younger, all of us can sing. And so we would all, like, when she would get up and she would be nervous, we'd be in the background just doing it. Just said, don't you know, you're a shining star.
Can you? Wait. Can you do some of it?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you please?
Yeah.
Because it might take us out, but I want to say thank you, Dee. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Dee Scott singing Sister Don't You Know?
Yes.
By Bridgette Hempstead, who is the CEO of Cierra Sisters, and Dee is the president. Love you. Talk to you soon, in case I don't get to say a formal goodbye. Hit it, girl.
All right. Sister, don't you know you're a shining star? No matter who they say you are, you've been changed by the blade of the knife. Your body didn't treat you right, but that's okay. You can live again. You have a chance to live again. Don't be shy.
Woo!
Take the stars in your hand. Show the world who you are. Your stars are shining through. Sister, don't you know you're a shining star? No matter who they say you are, you've been changed by the blade of the knife. Your body didn't treat you right. Sister, don't you know? That's the radio edited version.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Well, my time is about up, but I just want to say thank you. I'll have you on again.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. It was my honor. It's my
honor. Tell your mom I said hello. Congratulations to her.
Thank you. Thank you to you too.
Thanks, dear. And for my audience, I just want to tell you quickly, Haunted House tomorrow, Saturday at Columbia City Theater from noon to 6 p.m. and again on the 26th and Halloween. Also, there'll be a fentanyl awareness town hall November 2nd at 11 a.m. live on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. You guys have a great weekend, and just remember, take care of yourselves. You need to go get a mammogram, man or woman.
Yes.
Just get it today. Be safe and live your life like it's golden.
Yes. Bye-bye.